Alright guys, I'm here at the she shed with no makeup on, and I thought I'd give you guys a little tour just because get so many questions and I read so many boards about how do you keep horses and not have a barn. And since our barn is being built right now, but we needed to bring the horses home, we have a couple of little inventive things that we've learned over the last couple of months, and I've tried out a bunch of ideas that people have posted, and I'll tell you what works and show you how we have 3 happy horses, and my life is really actually pretty easy taking care of them with the space that we have while our barn is being built. The first thing I want to show you is our system for tying up and tacking up the horses. So I decided to put it right in front of this little shed that we had delivered because then that way it was really easy to bring the feed in and out. And you can see we have a set of cross ties for each of our 3 horses. So we set 4 posts and we put in the eye hooks and the cross ties. I tie them tied to 1 post. You can see they each have a feed bin right there, and I've got a couple little mats down for if it's wet, because of course with as much traffic as we get in this area, we don't have any grass growing right here in front of the shed. And so they generally don't like to stand on the mats, but it does kind of help with some runoff. And we've been able to feed them here. They all now know which post is theirs, and they just kind of go ahead and line up for us. And so let me give you a tour of the shed. So first thing you might notice up top is we have a I guess it has a 180-degree view camera that we can access from our home Wi-Fi, so we can check out kind of where the horses are, see what's going on. One of my favorite things about the outside, this is the 4-board fencing that we've been putting up all day today. You can see the parts that are still electric fence as it kind of goes way up there and all the way around and up at the tops where they're building the barn. But one of my favorite features that made my life so easy is this walk-through gate. This was the best thing we've ever built, just because it is so quick and easy just to walk down here and feed the horses, and they can't get through, but I don't have to undo any latches. On the outsides of the doors, we put hooks so that we've got halters and lead ropes for each horse, so I don't have to actually jump up in there and get stuff. And also we have all our grooming supplies and a little shoe rack. That was a Pinterest idea that worked out super well for us. And let's take a look inside here. So we just unloaded 40 bales of hay into this little shed, and so we stacked them up all across the back, and we got that unloaded really fast with our tractor. You can see there's room up top, but I've just got the hay pillows up there for right now, and I can pull them down. We've got our 2 track trunks set here. I mounted saddle racks across the side here, and normally it's a little bit more organized, but I've got my rain gear up there. On the inside here, if we have power, that's an electrical outlet, but on the inside here we've got some bridle racks, we've got our quick mix, we've got our feed, and we have just some extra saddle racks. I'm going to jump up so you can see from inside, kind of tight quarters, so I'll show you here. I've got another shoe rack. I've got some handy stuff like my gloves. I'm allergic to hay a little bit, so I've got a mask up there for when I'm putting the hay in the bags, and some other just little stuff like that. We've got our Smart Pack supplements from Smart Pack, and then I have 2 different types of feed that I'm feeding, one for the ponies and one for my Mustang, and so I've got those in there in sealed containers. This is one of my favorite little things that I have here, and that is just a food scale, so that way I can adjust, especially the ponies because they don't get much food, and I can kind of titrate their weight, and also the Mustangs is where trying to put a little weight on her. So opposite problems, 2 ponies that we want to keep the weight off of, and 1 Mustang that we want to put the weight on. So we've got plenty of room up top. These are the hay pillows that we use since we are still trying to grow some grass on this land that we just had cleared. The hay pillows have been awesome because they allow us to stuff the bags. I have 8 of them. I put 4 out at a time because we have 3 horses. Each one holds about 3 flakes of hay. So I put 4 out in the pasture, and I put 4 up top, and then that way I only have to stuff the hay bags once a day. So when I wake up in the morning to go to work, all I do is come down and I get their feed out of the buckets that I already have ready. Well, not that one. Whichever one is most empty is where I put them. So their feed is already ready to go in here. And all I have to do is dump it straight in there. In the evening we do supplements, and then so I just dump their feed, and then while I'm feeding them I throw the hay bags out. I don't even bother to collect the other ones because sometimes they still have a good bit of hay left in them, so don't even bother to collect those, and let the girls eat. Spray them off with our fly spray and put their fly masks on, and then they are ready to go outside. So then here is the top part of the pasture, and you can see they're all up there ignoring their hay and nibbling on a little bit of grass, but we've got plenty of room up there. And then we have, this is all unfortunately the land that we just had graded, so we just put down a ton of seed, but there's no grass, but it was kind of uneven and it just needed a lot of work. And then down here, whoops, that was my finger, we have a Shelter Logic run-in shed that we put up real quick. We did have to put a runoff berm around it when we finished flattening that land and kind of leveling it down here, just because it was starting to pool due to the slight grade. But that fixed that problem really nicely, and so this last rainstorm it worked great. So, and then we've got kind of our shady area down here. And this is super cool. This is my husband's invention, and it's time to clean out the water trough, but I'm going to show you what it does. This is actually a solar powered spring pump, so it's pumps spring water fresh twice a day straight into the water trough, and then there's an overflow valve right there, and so then that way water kind of drains back down and drains back from whence it came. Luckily we have several fresh springs on our property, and so it would have been a really long way from the house to actually try to run water all the way down here. Of course we'll have running water at the barn, that's going to be coming off the city street, but for this way we have water down here, and it's usually, this water trough's usually shaded, which is nice, and it's a nice cool spot, and then that way the horses can come down here and get water. And it is always filling twice a day, and we just check the battery that's back there. So I have my chickens way back there, and we have about another 5 or 6 acres back here. It's nice and shady, and it's a little bit too wet to put horses back here in the spring, and so we are going to finish our 4-board fence and then move this electric fence back here, and we'll probably keep the horses down here where it's shadier and much cooler, just in the hot summer months when it's nice and dry. But then when fall rains start back up again, then we'll have to put them back up here where there's a little bit better drainage. And then we have a gate down here so we can get down to the tractor, and of course we have a plate rack that needs to be moved with the tractor, so that's why it's right here. All right, well, so that's horse keeping, 3 happy horses with actually pretty minimal investment. Shelter Logic shelter, the little shed we had delivered pre-made. My husband and I have done all the electric fencing ourselves and are getting started on this 4-board. And here's our 4-board fence that I'm super proud of. We just got the post cut off today and got the front boards on, and this is a I think we said 60-foot section down here that we decided to go ahead and start with. A little bit of stuff to clean up, obviously, but it is looking really good. Okay, so I'm no YouTuber, and hopefully this video came out and helps some people who want to keep horses at home but think that you have to have a big fancy barn, which hopefully I'll have here pretty soon. Well, a small fancy barn, but you can do it, and there's a lot of great ideas on Pinterest and stuff, so we just actually put it into practice. Feel free to text me or send me any messages or anything like that, answer any questions I can to make your life easier, since I've done it wrong 100 ways, so I can tell you which ways to do it right.